All right, recording is started. Welcome everyone to this week's. Oh, let me turn this on. No, that'll be all right. All right, welcome to today's market analysis. Ooh, we just had a Bitcoin jump. Look at that. That's pretty. So, as per usual, we will start by taking a look at Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin has followed the path that we laid out last week, broke out of the head and shoulders pattern, came up and found some resistance at this trend line, came back, retested, or I'm sorry, came back, touched the 23.6, came up and broke through the trend line, went up, came down and retested the trend line. And this is the reason why I typically recommend not buying right out of the break, wait for the retest. And we had a really strong retest of this trend line. You can see it actually lined up perfectly with not only the red trend line, the descending trend line, but also the ascending trend line, right? It's a pretty clean rejection. So anyway, we actually came down and touched it a third time even. That's both, it wicked the ascending and the descending. And now we're on our way. And right now, during this particular hour, it looks like Bitcoin is on the move. I think we're probably going to find some resistance around this trend line. If we find resistance at this trend line, I'm thinking it's going to retest this ascending trend line again, and it'll probably do so around the 38.2. That's my thinking. This is also an area of some resistance back here. So we're going to make that orange. So this is kind of the path that I'm thinking for Bitcoin. There's some people saying that this is a bull trap and that we're going to touch this trend line here and then shoot way back down. I personally am a little bit skeptical of that. I think that we're probably in pretty good shape. I think that the market sentiment is. Can I look at XRP USD? Yeah, sure. Bob the Builder. So I think we're in the clear as far as overall market sentiment goes. We've had a very bullish reversal, and I think that that's probably going to continue. So nobody panic. Now we may see a little bit of a drop when we hit this top trend line because this is a very substantial trend line. You can see this arrow that I drew way back here had it go into this trend line too. So we've got a lot of confluence saying it's going to hit here and then probably do a little bit of a rejection. Good job, Bob. Yeah, a dip to 2K is, in my opinion, not in the cards. I mean, it's possible. If you look at daily, then there is some. Actually, I'm going to pull up a different chart so it's not as messy. Let's see, Bitcoin dollar. Let's clear this chart and look at the daily. So there's some people thinking that we're going to see. Hold on, let me find my. There it is. Some people thinking that we're going to see something like this, right? And that we're coming back up to retest this area of support before falling back down. If you look really closely, we've already kind of surpassed the area of resistance, or what I would consider resistance. I'm just all over the place right now. Where did my box go? There it goes. So I would consider this the stronger area, and we already kind of broke through. You can see if you look really closely, we broke through, and then this bearish candle, this daily bearish candle, kind of came back and retested it before we had a really strong bullish engulfing candle out of that zone. So I personally think that we're in the clear. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm always right. Could be wrong. This could be a bull trap, and then if that's the case, that chart that we saw showing this come way back down is not totally unrealistic. But I am confident that this area right here where all of these wicks are was where there was a lot of resistance, and we broke through and retested it, bullish engulfing out of the zone. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. All right, what was the next one you guys wanted me to look at? You want me to look at Ethereum? Maybe? Okay. Oh, that daily chart's messy. Let's go down. Okay, so we entered the consolidation a little bit earlier than I thought we were going to, right? We came up here, we retested this zone, which is what I had marked 2 or 3 days ago. And then we had that really big bearish move down back to this area of support and resistance. Let me readjust the trend lines real quick. Drag them out. So I think that this is now turned orange. We're still following a bullish structure, right? We're making higher lows and higher highs. So we are in an uptrend. This big bearish breakthrough yesterday was a little bit less than expected, but I still think that we're going to end up in this area before we see the launch. So this trend line right here is one to really pay attention to. This one right here. You can see that's a really strong upward trend line. If we break below that level, then that's something to maybe be a little bit concerned about. But at this point, we don't really have any reason to think that we're going to. Now, it is possible that we continue in this area of consolidation following this orange line and find ourselves on the outside of this blue. And if that's the case, we're still technically going to be in an uptrend, but not quite as aggressive as I would like. I really want to see this go from here up to this area and bypass all of this consolidation that I had in mind, come back down, retest, and then be on our way. So I know that's a lot of arrows going on, but I think that we're going to continue to see this trend followed. And there's another. I'm going to draw that line into the future so that we have that to keep in mind whenever we get above this level. Actually, I lied. I like that one more. So that's just a real quick look at Ethereum. The immediate future, you can see that we found support on this orange ascending trend line. I'm sorry about all the arrows. I can get rid of some of these, but there was a lot of options we were looking at. So we found support at this trend line, at both of these trend lines. You know, down here we found support, and again right here. So I'm bullish on Ethereum right now. All right, I'll do Tron next, and then I'll do XRP. Oh, dear. All right, Tron, what are you up to? Wabi. That's one that I'm not invested in, but I will take a look. Man, Tron is just nosediving right now. So there's a really obvious area of support and resistance here that hopefully we're going to catch support at. It's worth noting that we are oversold. You can see that circle down there. Man, Tron is just not... What else is new, right? Tron has just been merciless. I've never seen a project be quite so erratic, right? I mean, a lot of this that I've drawn can be erased, but I'm going to need to come in here and clean it up at some point. Actually, I guess I can do that right now, right? So this is washed. That obviously did not happen. Tron has been very disobedient recently. All these trend lines are... Sorry, I was reading George's message. All right, so we do have... we do have a really low trend line here. Now, let's hope it doesn't come to that. I don't think it's going to, though. If you zoom way out, that would be pretty wild. Well, right this second, I would be bullish on Tron, but we're going to have to wait and see how it behaves in this area. You can see that looks like we are finding some resistance or some support here. We're catching some support as seen by this long wick. Hopefully we're going to see this turn around and do this number over time. It may not be a direct run, and then it'll probably do a retracement before hopefully busting through. As erratic as Tron has been lately, we may not see that happen quite as quickly as we want, but I think that we're probably going to jump up on top of this. It's just a really big double bottom. Yeah. It's just, Tron is really, it's been fun, right? It has been fun. I bet that lines up with the retracement level. Just about. If we come up to here, then it does. So we may see it jump through, come back up and touch this trend line in confluence with the 23.6. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't sell at 30, but I do think that it's going to pop back up soon. I have been saying that, and it did pop up momentarily, right? It came all the way up here, and then instead of doing what we thought it was going to do and catch the 38.2 and continue upward, it's just been moseying down since then. I was telling people the last time that I was on this that here's another pretty big trend line that we need to break through. So I'm readjusting this, right? Because that's a pretty big trend that it needs to break there. But we will see. Tron is one of those that I think we just need to be patient about. If we are patient with it, it will pay off, I believe. I haven't lost faith in it. Let's say that it comes up here. So this is where I would be looking to catch a breakout. All right, let's look at XRP. You're talking about Nomad Coin, right? Yeah, I looked at it a little bit. I need to do some more research on it tonight. XRP. Oh, you want to look at USD? Okay, we can look at USD. Okay, I'll do Cardano, Litecoin, Trig. All right, you said there was a 4-hour teacup. I don't really consider any of this a teacup. Yeah. So, are you talking about right here? I think I might actually be able to give you the ability to do that, but you're talking about right here, right? Okay. So, here's why I wouldn't consider that a teacup. And I guess people have different definitions of it. This is just the way that I've always done it. And where is my bendy line? Am I going crazy? Do I ever short? No, I don't. I just wait for opportune buys. Am I going crazy? Oh, there it is. Jeez. So in order for it to be a teacup, my requirement is that it comes up and it touches the same area. So in this case, it didn't come up and touch this level. So that's why I would not consider it a teacup. And we also don't really have any reason to think that this is a teacup, right? Because a teacup, you'll see a downward channel. Teacup, you'll see a downward channel afterwards. And we didn't really see a downward channel from this. Well, sorry, if we took it from here, because this itself doesn't constitute a downward channel, in my opinion. It needs to be more like a handle, right? Not just straight down and then back up. So that's, for those reasons, I wouldn't consider it one, but I'm sure some traders may have. Yeah, that channel is a little bit steep for me. When I am talking about a teacup channel, I'm generally looking for something that's more horizontal and goes on for a little bit longer than just a really short spike and then jump up. You want to be able to really establish a trend, and this dip itself is just a retracement. It's not a trend. So yeah, it's just a 50% retracement. Oh no. All right. But let's take a look on the 1 hour and see where we're at. So we are in an uptrend. Looks like we are at a retracement level. We're at 38.2 right now. We just found support at 38.2, I should say. RSI is in the middle. We did have an uptrend going on here. That was the trend that has now turned to resistance. an area of resistance to keep in mind. Yep, XRP USD. I don't typically mark up USD charts, so that might have some people confused. Let's see if there's anything else staring at me in the face. Nope, I don't like that. Happy to help. Let's take a look at Cardano. Man, Cardano really dropped back down. A lot of these alts are losing Satoshi value though, because Bitcoin's going up, obviously. Let's look at, I bet you USD is up. Yeah, USD is in an uptrend, but Bitcoin is in a downtrend. Can be very misleading. Wow, we're really down on Cardano right now. February 28th, big day for Cardano. Yeah. Derek, I think a lot of people are just selling their ICO tokens or coins or whatever from TEL. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Cardano has gone down this far. It's a little bit crazy. I think it's at a retracement level though. Almost. Yeah, TEL is a good buy. I really like the project in general. Now, the only thing that worries me is how much lower the ICO is trading, but you can still get several million for relatively cheap, right? I mean, I think I got 500,000 or 600,000 for, yeah, it wasn't even that much. So wouldn't buy that downtrend. Good project, but maybe when it reverses. Are you talking about Cardano? I mean, if Cardano really wants to be crazy, it'll probably come down to here. Maybe catch the, oh, sorry. Maybe catch the 886 of the big move before it runs again. So that's where I would probably buy, is around the 31.6 Satoshi level, because that downtrend's pretty crazy. You're right. I'm a little bit surprised. We're coming up on that buy zone though. So I would wait another 5% or so. And then I would wait for a bullish engulfing out of this zone. And then a retest of the zone before a break of structure to indicate that we are in an uptrend. That's what I would look for. So my buy would be right around here. We are also really oversold. Well, I don't know about really oversold, but we're oversold. You can see how Cardano has behaved in the past when oversold. There's a history there. Straight up. I would say something like that is pretty realistic. I think Cardano will probably bounce pretty hard out of the zone. All right, so that's my thoughts for Cardano. We do Litecoin, Trig, and then XLM. Okay, so we followed the breakout path that I had drawn. Retraced to the 23.6, found support, and now it has just been in this zone of consolidation, ranging around this resistance point. So I think we are going to see this breakout relatively soon. I agree the LTC or LL or whatever LCC stuff is messing with it a little bit. But we are still in an uptrend. So you can see that right? We are making higher lows. DJ is always asking what pair we're on. My friend, if you go up to the top left over here, you can see what pair it is also. Yep, what she said. So, thoughts on Litecoin, probably something like this. If you're waiting for a breakout to buy more, I would wait until it crosses this point. You can wait till it crosses this point or wait till it retests that point. Probably retest that point would be safer. So right around here. And that could also end up in confluence. For good measure, let's put this in confluence with the trend line. Because I love when things line up perfectly like that. Added confluence, right? That's what we're all about. So that would be what I'd look for. That puts an entry around 230 for Litecoin. We did spike 237 4 days ago. 4 or 5 days ago? 4 days ago. Yep, LightPay is also coming soon. It's another thing to keep in mind for sure. Any other questions on Litecoin? Sorry, guys. I forgot I'm supposed to be posting charts. Boop. Okay, let's look at Trig before DJ has a heart attack. Trig is not one that we've marked up before. Oh yeah, I'll do Wabi. That's not one that I've invested in, but I like Wabi. Can you post that last one? Are you talking about LTC? Or which one, Tyler? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can post ADA. We broke to the downside of the triangle. Our optimistic approach did not pan out. But that's okay because Bitcoin started running. Just got to give the alts a little time to catch up, that's all. All right. So trig is not one that we've looked at before, it looks like. That's exciting. Or either that or... Oh, you know what? I think it is. I guess we marked it up on Bittrex last time. But it's no longer on Bittrex. Yeah. All right, so let's do a fresh markup of trig. Some crazy wicks going on there. You know what? Let's do 4 hour. All right, so I'm going to use 4 hour to start drawing some major trends. Oh, all right. Let's see what's relevant. This dip was just uncalled for. So we're hovering around the 618 here. Well, trig has taken a lot of heat lately because they got delisted from Bittrex, which people were not happy about. And it was because of some regulatory issues that they were having. So it is what it is. So we broke out of this downward trend and found support, retested the trend line. Came up, double bottom. Hopefully this continues to squeeze until eventually popping out and retesting. It's not a bad time to get into trig, but I have lost a little bit of my enthusiasm about the project since they got delisted and don't seem to care that they're having regulatory issues. But I think trig is one of those projects that we might see just totally explode at some point. It already did once. I mean, not right here, but when it was back on Bittrex, it launched up to pretty darn high, and then it came crashing back down. I wish that this had established a new trend, but it didn't. So I'm kind of just waiting to see what it does, honestly. I don't have anything, any trades open on trig right now, other than what I'm risk-free on. That's my general thought, though, on what we're going to see. It'll probably come up here and test that, come back down, and then probably get stuck in this consolidation a little bit longer. We might see a breakout a little bit earlier, but yeah, DJ, I would just wait and see. I'd keep a close eye on it. I'd wait for the breakout, right? Wait until it breaks out of this really big downward trend. because once it does, it'll probably be in good shape. You messaged me on Discord? Okay, I'll check. Did you just message me on Discord? Oh, okay. You're probably going to have to message me again. I get a pretty crazy amount of Discord messages. So if I don't respond, please just feel free to message me again and bug me until I do. I do my best to stay on top of it. What was next? I saw. Yeah, George is right. Just spam me. Be an alarm clock. Let's do Wabi. That sounds like a fun new one to look at. Ooh, looks like a nice time to get into Wabi. So you can see that this area of support and resistance has had a lot of history. We broke out of this descending triangle. You can see there is a nice pretty triangle right here. Broke out of that descending triangle, retested. Stick another circle there. Retested the triangle, kind of consolidated into the support zone, and now we are chilling at support. This right here, this second bounce further establishing the support zone, tells me that this breakout was successful and we're working towards an uptrend. Because if this was trying to continue down, we would have seen it do something like that and walk along the bottom of this line. So I'm encouraged by the fact that we found support and then are now coming back down. This is 100% retracement of that small move, but I'll bet it's like an 88, maybe even less. Might be a 61. No, 76, 78.6. See how that lines up? That 78.6 of the big move is where we have found support numerous times. I wouldn't really consider this super valid, but use it as a guide, this next resistance trend right here. I don't consider that super strong by any means, but let's work on a scenario here. If it breaks out, wait for a retrace. It may even retest real quick, you know how it goes. Wait for it to jump up. It'll probably do like a 38.2 continuation or 23.6. That would be right at the 30 or 23.6. Once we break this area of resistance. Now, this is if you want a really a good, strong indication of an uptrend reversal. I don't think we're going to go any lower than this, personally. So if you want Wabi, it's not a bad time to buy. But if you want that added confluence that we're finally breaking through, then I would wait until you see it break out of this area and retest this zone. That would be my buy if you want to play it safe. Because if you get a bullish engulfing out of this zone, not only is that breaking structure on the 4 hour, but you also have a really clean break out of this downward triangle area. This is what I would be looking for with Wabi. That's one I need to look into. I've heard good things. I've heard really good things about it. I personally am not invested in it, but it's one that I may check out. Just throw it on here. What you guys want to see next? You got it, George? Whew. We are doing all kinds of crazy things here. Oh yeah, XLM. I'll take a look at that one too. So this trend did not hold. This kind of changed to this and has since fallen apart. We gotta be quicker than that, Greg. This is another one that's been kind of frustrating us, right? Yeah, it was. I know. It was very close to hitting the 100%. This really strong bearish candle is a little bit concerning, but this is a really strong support zone that we've had drawn. So I'm not too worried. Let's try to stay north of that wick right there. I wish I had good news for ICX, but there really isn't a whole lot that's telling me that this is going to shoot up right this second, other than the fact it's in a really strong support zone. So this isn't one that I would necessarily be throwing a ton of money into right now, but that said, I think that it is still incredibly undervalued. So that's a good sign. Just overall, you can see that we had a really strong bullish move up. So a drop down like this is not super uncommon after a run like that. I'll report back on ICX more once we see what it does with this line. So we broke right through the bottom of this triangle here. It said nope. Came down and caught this support zone that we had drawn, and then it came back up and retested as resistance. Came down, broke through that incredibly strong area of resistance, made an all-time low, and came back down and found support once again. So we are in an uptrend here. Good news with waves. Hopefully make a higher high here. This is the general movement that I want to see out of waves. I'm not thinking there's going to be a lot to talk about with Key, but we'll take a look. We may see this struggle a little bit. Full disclosure. Nothing new for waves though. It's been letting me down for the past year. It's also worth noting that the oversold territory is going to be in confluence with this trend line. So if you're looking for a buy on waves, that's probably a good one right there. Sure. So RSI represents it stands for Relative Strength Index. And essentially the bare bones, as simple as I can put it, I'll make a video or do a specific webinar on the details of it, but essentially so I set my RSI up with these parameters, if you want to write it down, 80 and 25. I believe that's different than the default. I think the default is 70-30 maybe. So 80 and 25 are the parameters that I use. When RSI is below 25, you can see at the bottom here, there's a scale from 100 to 0. When RSI is below 25, that's a buy signal. That means that the relative strength index is down in oversold territory. And when you are above 80, that indicates overbought, which means that it's essentially just a oscillator. It's an indicator that lets you know when market conditions are oversold or overbought based on the volume that's going on, the liquidity of the moment. So I'll do a specific video on this, but you'll see that if you look down here, that there's a pretty clear correlation between when things become oversold and overbought and when they turn around and head the other direction, right? Now, sometimes with some charts, you'll see that it'll just go from, this is what happened with Bitcoin when it crashed. It went from oversold to oversolder, and I'm dragging my cursor all the way down into oblivion, and it'll just drop. But most of the time, you'll see a really clean rejection out of these overbought and oversold zones, and price will just kind of bounce between the two. Yes, sir. Okay. All right, I'll do key last since that one I believe is still only on KuCoin. Any other trading view ones you guys want to see? I've got time for one or two more. Oh, I did skip you. I'm sorry. I was thinking. XLM pulling some BS. So Derek, here's a good example of when oversold can get oversolder. You can see here at the bottom that it broke into oversold territory and then it just continued dropping. And the more oversold that we get indicates that there is reason to think that it's going to turn around. But you don't always want to just buy right when we get into oversold territory, because that right here is a good example of when that can backfire. So I see a trend line here. That unfortunately was just broken through. So that's unfortunate. I'm going to mark this back up. Let's look at the big picture. Big picture indicates a little bit more room to drop. Small picture also kind of indicates that, unfortunately. Yeah, wait for it to bottom out. I'm a little surprised that it hasn't already done so, but based on this chart, unlike ADA, it's not really at an ideal area. Oh, whoops, I just deleted. It's not really at an ideal area right now. I'm a little worried that this might come down to the 618. Before catching support. You can see in the past there's been a lot of wicks in this area. Even a really powerful move out of this zone. We haven't been back this low since then, but with Bitcoin continuing to climb, we may see that. And if we do, this would be a really good time to pick up some XLM. I would wait and see how this 4-hour window closes, because this is a really critical moment for price. If it comes back up and stays above this trend line, then we're in good shape. This 4-hour period hasn't closed yet. We could just have a really massive wick here. So we really just need to wait and see how it's going to behave. Keep a close eye on it. See how this 4-hour candle closes. If it closes as a strong bearish candle past this trend line, then I would be looking for the retest and, unfortunately, a move down to this next support zone where the 618 retracement of the big move is. I'm just holding on to what XLM I have, honestly. I'm just seeing how it plays out. All right, let me spin up key real quick. Yes. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's the reason for them to be down, but a huge circulating supply does have its downfalls. It makes it harder for some things to let me get logged into KuCoin here. George, there is a lot of different ways to do a coin burn. I'm not totally familiar with the way that Tron is doing it, only that they are. What I can do is do some digging into how they're doing it. I wouldn't say there's really a normal way to burn coins because really there is no standard. There's just, you can use any economic model that you want. So I need to dig into how Tron is actually doing the burn, which I believe is at the end of March or end of February, something like that. I think it's end of March, right? Yeah. So I will release some information on that. I'll do some digging and maybe we can talk about it the next time that we have a webinar. I want to make sure that I'm not just spouting randomness. I want to make sure that I'm familiar with the model that they're using. Where is my KuCoin? There it is. Key. There it is. Okay. So, where I called key recently was at the breakout of this triangle, right? I believe it was right here. So I called key when it broke out of the triangle. It has since moved and then kind of retested that zone. I'd say we're at pretty strong support. Looks like probably the 886 of that smaller move. $786. I always got to reset my fib settings because the world hates me. So we came down and touched the 886. You can see we came down and touched the 886 and found some support. Oh, did I not post it? All right, I'll post it. Sorry about that. I wish that we would have seen a cleaner uptrend started out of this area. That's a little bit frustrating. But all in all, I would just consider this a retest of this floor. We broke out, we came up. I think we got 30 or 40% in profit at one point. I might be lying. Yeah, 35%-ish. I believe I called it right out of the breakout. And then it's just kind of been staggering its way down, unfortunately. This is an area of resistance to keep an eye on. This is probably what we'll see. I still think Key is really undervalued at like 2 cents because they have some real heavy hitters on their team, and you can scoop up a lot of them for cheap. So if you're not already in Key, it's a good time to get in. It's almost at the level that I called it at after a 35% spike. So that's a good sign. Shows life. Let me post this. KuCoin is so much more of a pain in the butt to deal with. All right. Any last minute requests? I'll post the XLM chart too, Greg. I can take a look at TEL real quick. Someone asked about that. I don't think there's going to be much to talk about. I called ING also, and I think we're a little bit on profit on that one, but we're still kind of at the base here. Yeah, it hasn't really moved all that much. I called it here at the bottom. BTC definitely is messing with Satoshi levels, and that is part of the problem with BTC. We're in an uptrend. You can see that these candles are so liney because the volume is so low. So I think TEL is honestly just one of those projects that you should forget about. Kind of like I did with Verge forever. I mean, look at this sell wall. It's nuts. So it's an uphill battle for TEL. I would just pick some up if you haven't already. Pick up a little TEL, spend $100, $50, $10, doesn't matter. Just take, get a little bit. And I think this is one of them that if you forget about for the next year, it'll make you a lot of money. Like Verge did for me and a couple others. So I've got my TEL. I'm not planning on selling it. This is not one that I'm going to sell at 100%. This is one of them that I put a little bit in, and I'm just going to hold it for a long time. Team hold. Team hodl. Exactly, George. Doesn't take much with these cheap coins, man. I mean, the price is literally saying 0. So, yeah, exactly, right? I mean, think about what 6K worth of Verge is now. When I first got Verge last May, I only put $100 into it, and I got like 400 million coins. And I mean, look, it blew up to as high as 20 cents. So some of these really cheap ones that have really strong teams behind them. Now, with the cheap coins, there's so much crap out there that you got to be really careful to only go into coins that have strong fundamentals. But TEL is one that has strong fundamentals. They have a really nice team, and they're not worth much right now, obviously. But I think this is one that you can't go wrong just throwing a few bucks at it. Yeah, exactly. Just forget you have it. I'll let you guys know when it blows up. When it blows up, I'll let you guys know, and you can run to your portfolios and see how much money you made. Yeah, this is one worth just throwing a little bit. And the reason I say a little bit rather than a lot is that these cheaper coins are obviously higher risk, right? I mean, there's strong fundamentals here, but this sell wall is massive. So there's going to be a lot of struggle on the way up. I mean, the sell wall is even in the cheap area. I mean, right, we're at 42 or 420 Satoshi or 42. Wait, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 42. So either way, it's an uphill paddle. So I wouldn't put like $5,000 into it because there's no telling how long it's going to take. But it's one that's definitely worth throwing a little bit at. All right, guys. Well, we will call it here. I will post the XLM chart that I did. And I appreciate everyone coming out. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. If you are sitting in on this webinar and not a member of the Technical Art Room, then drop me a message. I've got special offers for you and whatnot. And we do 3 webinars a week. Really fun community. So I appreciate all your guys' support. And I will see you next time. We'll have our next webinar on, I'll probably do one tomorrow at 7 p.m. Can you refer yourself? Absolutely you can. No, I'm just kidding. You can't. Sorry, Joe. I do little dances if you join. I'm not much of a dancer, but it does help keep me motivated. So I definitely appreciate it. Def recommend. That's the kind of praise that I need more of. All right, guys. And just a reminder, as of yesterday, what is today, Monday? As of yesterday, the one-on-one sessions for this week opened up. I've only had one person message me. You guys are really slacking. No, I'm just kidding. But really, if you need a one-on-one session and you need some more direct guidance, just hit me up. I'm totally flexible. I like working with you guys, but I need you to, chart reading, education. You want to talk about your family, relationship problems? I don't care. Open book, 30 minutes. You get me. We can chit chat about politics. I'm very strongly opinionated. Cars, sure. Yep, exactly. Whatever you want to talk about. If you just want someone to vent to, if you want me to, why Evos are better than WRXs, I don't want to talk about that. WRX owner. But yeah, so hit me up. You got to drop me a message on Discord and tell me what day and time works for you, and we'll set it up. I do 5 a week. I've been really not getting quite as much traffic through that as I was expecting, which is fine. I mean, if you guys don't want or need one-on-one sessions, that's perfectly fine. But if you do want them, they're there. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. I forgot I'm still recording, so sorry for whoever's still listening. And I got hit with V-Day and wife's birthday. Terrible week. That is a terrible week, Jared. Hopefully you didn't forget either one of them. But if you did forget one of them and you need to vent and talk about it, hit me up for a one-on-one session. I will see you guys later.